So you see the F printf. So the F in printf actually stands for formatted. Okay, the F in printf, it actually stands for formatted. So it's formatted printing. Now normally printf is supposed to print to the standard output. Now the standard output can be anything. Okay, it can be
Yeah.
anything. It can be a file. It can be, but normally in our case, the standard output is the screen. So the standard output is not necessarily a screen. So it could be anything. It could be any file. But then in our case, it's the screen. So we format output to the screen. Now the formatting part actually. So it means you'll format integers, strings. Okay. So and now printf is the perfect example of variadic functions. Now printf being a variadic function, Sanella, what
Yeah.
that simply means is that what that simply means that takes a variable number of arguments, and taking a variable number of arguments is not is integral to print to the working of printf, because it means that you can now pull any you can print any type of arguments of any type and of any character. So I see Destiny has arrived, and we're just starting actually. Destiny.
Hello, Samuel.
Oh, Destiny.
Hi, hello to what's up, learners. How are you guys doing?
Okay. So I was just telling them the basics of how printf works. I was explaining how printf is a variadic function. The most common example of a variadic function is printf, and so I was explaining that how printf the f in printf means formatted, and why we should do it. So one thing to know about printf for those of us here is that printf takes while printf prints to the formatted to the screen, it actually counts the number of characters that it's printing. Hello.
Yeah. I'm still
Okay,
here.
so if you can hear me, printf actually counts. So we're going to be sharing a PowerPoint.
Hello,
So
Samuel. Yeah, Samuel. Why don't the Samuel?
yes.
Samuel, wouldn't it be preferable if you share the slides? Wouldn't it be preferable if you share the slides?
Yeah, it would be preferable. Do you have the slides ready yet?
You can check the link I sent to you.
Okay, fine. So wait. A moment.
And guys, I think you guys should stay. There'll be time for question and answer in case you do not get it clearly. We're here to help you. So hopefully, I think
Okay,
at
fine.
those.
So I'll be sharing my screen. Okay. So can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, fine.
Yes, yes, go
So
ahead.
this project is about printf. So as I was explaining, printf is the most common example of a variadic function. And
So the call also recorded, please.
yeah, I'm recording the meeting.
That's perfect.
Okay, fine. Actually, so printf. I've just been explaining. Printf means formatted. It means formatted printing, and so and it allows to print various formats of the screen in whatever way you choose. So what most people don't usually understand is that you can always make your own printf, and that is actually a good thing. So as you can see, so the way printf does this is that it takes format specifiers after each time it encounters a percent sign. It takes format specifiers each time it encounters a percent sign. Now whenever you have a percent in your character format in the argument for your printf, actually, so you what you usually do is that you check the format specifier and you pull the argument the way it's meant actually. So so as you can see in this case you're saying the it scans the form from left to right and it prints every character. So it's each time it encounters a special character like S for string and C for character, it replaces it with the corresponding argument value. So what that simply means is that for each as you're building your printf, the characters that you are as you pull your arguments, you should understand that the order of the arguments is important, seeing as the variable arguments that you pass will be pulled in order. As you can see, we've explained here that it prints every character from left to right, and it replaces every specifier with the corresponding argument size. So it repeats this for the entirety of the format string. Now, because these are some examples of the common format specifiers, we have C for character, for unsigned integer, we have U, we have F for floating point numbers, S for string, and P for pointer addresses. Now, for our project, our printf project, the mandatory tasks, of course, you can, for pointer addresses are for the advanced tasks. For those of you who will be willing to go further, we'll still be able to help you. But C, D, F and S as are the common ones. C, D, I, F, and F. So if you don't understand, if you can Google, you can see Google, you can Google research the internet, you can use ChatGPT, and you can also check the manual pages. Now, printf, the manual pages for the printf, you use they are in section 3. So what you'll be doing is that you'll be using man3 printf. You'll type man3 printf to see the manual pages for printf. Of course, now if because printf, there is printf for the user commands which are in section 1. So for the C function, you'll use man3 printf. Okay, and then they will tell you everything about printf, including its prototype. Let me show you an example of that in my terminal, in my screen. Okay. So as I set it up, so we're going to take a few steps. Yes. Okay. So the next slide. So we're saying, the steps required to build your printf is that you'll take a format string and a variable number of arguments, and then after you do that, you'll look for you'll take the percent sign as a special character, and after that you'll retrieve the data type according to the specifier. So for those who don't know, the normal printf of the standard printf with the standard input output header file, it works. It makes a call to VF printf. Now VF printf it formats all it does the formatting for your printf, and it does this by looking at the what is it called? But it does this by formatting your output based on the percentage sign that you put. Now, okay, so you'll create a similar function. You'll of course replicate that idea of VF printf. You'll format the character based on the argument it's print. So allow me to show you the manual pages for printf. So that I stop sharing and let me share a new screen. Okay. Share. Okay, so if you can see my screen, I've so I said you man3 then printf. Okay, so when you type this on any Linux terminal, you can easily see that printf, it gives you the printf. So as you can see here, the correct format, the the format for printf is int. It returns an integer. Clearly, it returns an integer. Int printf const char restrict format, and it takes a variable number of arguments. So on the name on section 3, you can see it's library functions manual. So on the name you can see printf, fprintf, and all these calls to printf. Now all calls to printf make a call to vfprintf because vfprintf does the format conversion. And you can see that on the last page here, you've been told it's format output conversion. So for those who are still now. And vfprintf, you can see here it takes the character stream and a variable list that data type. Now we've done periodic functions, the var list type it's used to pull the variable number of arguments and convert them to a new data type. Okay, so let's continue with slides. On those. Okay, a moment. Okay, so the basic steps you'll do is that you'll pass the format string character by character, and then you look for the percent and identify the format specifier, and then you fetch the corresponding argument from the function call based on the data type. You convert the argument to the string or anything, and then you print the output. Then, so for example, if you have a percent, then the proceeding type is D, then you'll convert it to an integer, and then you'll print the integer that you've pulled to the standard output. Now, of course, you will have to replace the percent d sign with a we'll have to replace the percent d sign. Now, okay, so you'll repeat each process for the each format specifier sequentially, so that every argument that matches the corresponding format specifiers. Now, to summarize this, okay, printf returns, it prints formatted output in C, and you can build it using, it's a periodic function, and it returns the number of characters that's been printed to the screen. Now, each time, a moment, each time you make a call to printf, each time you make a call to printf, you will be each time you make a call to printf, you'll be counting the number of characters that you're printing you'll be counting the number of characters that you're printing. So printf, as you can see, it returns an integer, and the integer value that it returns is the number of characters it's printed. Now, of course, you won't be of course you'll be counting each character that you're printing. Each time you print something to the standard output, you count that character, and then you print it back. You count it, and then you return that value. So for those, in case it's still not clear, let me go back to the manual pages for printf so that I can show you on the return value. Is it okay? So let me share it, the manual pages. Okay, so let me just show you the manual pages for printf before we take some of your questions. Okay, so you can see the manual pages for printf. They are good. They are quite extensive, and they do a lot. So you can see here. So we go back to the bottom to see the return value and precision width. Of course, you can always look at them at your own time and see how each of these. So you can see the return value. So it says upon successful return, these functions return the number of characters printed, and they exclude the null byte that is used to end output to the screen. So the printf you're building will also be returning the number of characters it has printed. Now, each time you print an integer, the an integer is made up of digits, so you'll again return the number of characters. So each time you do that, then you'll be able to make the function work. Now, another thing before I forget is that the number of characters, the things that you're printing, the characters that you're printing, sometimes you have some edge cases. So we've said the percent sign is used to handle format conversions. Now, you printfs, it's meant to handle some edge cases. Edge cases such as those that happen when you print something. So for example, if you encounter a character that is not a format specifier, for example, the letter V, Okay, that is not a format specifier. Now, printf usually handles such things in some ways. So the way to do that is the way your printf should just work like the normal printf that the standard header file provides. Okay, so as long as you do that, so you look at how printf handles all those cases, and then you'll be able to replicate that behavior. So with that, I would like to now, with that, I would like now to invite everyone for a question and answer session. So if you, in case you have a question, please ask and we'll be able to answer the question. So are there any questions? I'll stop sharing my screen. Any questions from you guys?
Does anyone have any question at all? If you do not understand what to do, oh, you don't understand anything in the project and you're still fighting. I think that's Sanya. Sanya, how are you doing?
Hello, guys.
Yeah.
Seriously, I don't understand anything in that project. That's from how to create. If I create a repo in my GitHub, how to
Yes.
share it with my partner.
Okay, you need explanation on that.
Yeah.
Okay,
First
I
of
think
all, in that because I think we start in repo, then we can go in the code.
okay. I think Samuel, please let me address that.
Okay, that
If
would
you
be
if
fine
you
with
have
me.
if you have questions, in order not to forget them, please do well to drop them in the chat so you don't get to forget them and be like, what do I? Let me share my entire screen. Yeah, the session is recorded. I'm coming. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so this is I'm trying to open up GitHub right now, and hold on one sec. Keeping recording. I think I don't really have good network. Okay, so you'll first of all have to create the repo. You can click here to create the repo. You can similarly come here, new repository, wherever you just see new. I think this like an icon for new repository. So wherever you see, you get to find this icon. Yeah, do well to click it, and I'm creating a new repo. So you don't need a repo template. So you simply just come here and it's called the repo printf. I currently have printf since I've done the project. But let's see if you call it underscore printf, is that available? That's available. So I'll be doing this for you, Sanya. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce your name correctly. A description is optional, but it's necessary. It's recommended. So you can, I think this is a demo printf repository. And yeah, it's good you make it public, so the checker has access to it. Would ALX actually recommends you get to not push things directly from GitHub, so write your README locally on your terminal and then you push to GitHub. But I don't know. I think we'll not do that. So you don't need a Git. You can add a custom Git ignore. You don't need any of these default Git ignore. You don't need to stress yourself about this. And then a license. You also don't need a license. So we can create this repository underscore printf. And you have the repository here. You can easily see this, right? Invite collaborators. You can see this. But if you actually if you created the repository without and then you say add readme, your repository is not going to be empty like this one. This is actually an empty repository. That's why I even get to see this. If you reload and reload, you'll still see this. So if you don't get to see this, you can simply click here, invite collaborators. I'm coming, let me unlock this. I think two-factor authentication is off now. Sonia, what's your username on GitHub? Can you call that for me?
What do you say?
Your username on GitHub. So I get to like add you.
Uh, Is you ask about my name of in GitHub?
Yeah,
Yes.
your name on GitHub, your username, spell.
Yeah, it's just let me write it in.
Okay, that would be perfect. Did we just start? No, we didn't. But I think we still have enough time. This session is meant to last for like an hour, so we have over 45 minutes. And I think you guys would. I think we'll try our best to answer your question. So you see, Sanya, I think I want you to be a part of this. So you're going to check your email right now. Or if you don't get the email, you see it's a pending invite. I've invited you now to have access to this repository. You know, no one can push to your repository unless you give them access as collaborators. So here's it. If you come here on GitHub, Samuel, and the other watching, I'm sorry calling you Samuel. Samuel is my partner here. So if you come here on GitHub, yeah, this notification, you'd likely see Destiny Saturday invited you to have access to this as a collaborator to this repository. You can simply click on that and get to accept it. I don't know if you understand what I mean, Sanya, or you go to your email and you'll clearly see I invited you to join this repo. So I don't know. Would you like to maybe be a part of the game and then maybe share screen and share so you accept? Are you actually close to your computer right
Um,
now?
just when can I find that invitation in my GitHub?
You see here,
In general.
you see this. You just there's a notification here on GitHub. You can click the or you meant to receive an email as well.
I don't get any.
Can you share your screen? Are you on your computer right now? So you share your screen and then it gets to be faster. Tiani, oh, I call him Sanya. Tiani,
Siani,
no
are you there?
response. It's alright, Tiani. But I think that's it
Yes,
about.
it's you invite me in my email.
Oh, okay. You see it on your email. Okay. Does anyone have any other question? Why Tiani is trying to accept the invitation?
So
Does anyone have any question?
I see someone is asking that if they can write the same code with their partner or each one has to write their own code. Now,
I
I would
think that's still Tiani.
yeah, it's still Tiani, but I think many of them may have the same question. So each of you will have to write some code, okay? You won't be writing the same code, but each of you will have to write some code, okay? And then it's a collaboration project. I would encourage you to read on pair programming. Okay, let me look for that link. But each of you will write some code and you'll update the same repo. Of course, you'll have to handle some merge conflicts in the course of your collaboration. And Martin actually just posted a video on the ALX official ALX YouTube channel on how to handle merge conflicts. But then each of you you'll not be writing the same code, you'll be tackling different parts of the project together. Remember, each of you has to understand every single line of code that your partner pushes to the repo. And no, so I think I have answered that. You will not be writing the same code, but you'll be working on the same project. You may have to edit the same files. Okay. So I see
Okay, yeah,
Sanyani has
that's it.
raised a hand. His hand.
Let me add something to that, Samuel. Hold on, Sia. So imagine I and Mose and Samuel. I think and Zibo in Ghost is actually Samuel. So imagine I and Samuel working on the Sprint F. So Samuel is my partner, and while working on the project, I can do half the work. And if I see, hey, something needs to be
Sorry,
on
Destiny.
Destiny, it's all right. What's it, Sia? Then okay, it's all right. If I and Samuel are partner, I'll contribute a part of the project, and as well Samuel would contribute a part of the project. So if Samuel sees he can do tax two, I think he can. You guys would find a way to communicate. So Samuel can begin working on finding a way to implement the things on tax two. While Samuel is doing that, you can begin working on tax three, or you also assist Samuel to make sure he's better, like working on task two. Both of you have right access to the repository, so you both would be. It's similar to you doing it yourself, but it's a bit different since you both will be working together to achieve one aim. I hope that's clear. Okay. I think who was raising their hand? Saneli.
Sanele.
Yeah, it was me.
Siani wants to speak, please. Saneli, please, let's end it with Siani.
Okay. With the partner thingy. Um, you see, we've gotten like random partners because we couldn't get our own partners during the week. So what happens if your partner doesn't respond? Can you do the project alone?
Okay. Okay. To be honest, you getting paired with a random partner, you need to agree it is your fault, right? So you didn't get to select a partner yourself on time, and that's not the problem here. So you're randomly paired with someone you do not know. You first of all have to try to reach them, and it becomes problematic when you cannot get to them and they're like unresponsive. In that case, I think your cohort mentor, the cohort 16 mentor, you can actually reach out to them and tell them, hey, my partner is unresponsive. I've been trying to reach out to him, and I think pairing and unpairing is usually made available, but it's your if he doesn't get available early on time, like if you don't get to be paired with someone early on time, I'll advise you begin working on the project so that you don't have to wait until the last day and then regret it all. So you can begin working on the project and as well still be like finding a way to get unpaired and repaired. So trying to reach your cohort mentors. I hope that answered Sanely.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
So
Okay, it's
I've
fine.
shared I've shared a link that Lex recommends on pair programming. You can visit that link for more information on pair programming. So it's not just about getting 100% and you being perfect all on your own. It's also about learning how to work as a team, because for, yeah, as software engineers, you'll be working as a team for most of the projects you'll be working. So you can see that project and see that page on pair programming and then learn more about it. Now I see Hamunda is asking if we could explain task zero in simple English, as a simple explanation of what is expected. So Hamuda, are you on the call? Hello. So
Samuel,
yes. Okay. So
are you allowed to like read the
let me
tasks from
let
the
me just
internet?
explain.
Like,
Task zero asks you to handle
okay,
the percent percent C, percent S, and the percent format specifiers, right? So what that simply asks you to do is that, you know, we've been explaining that printf actually works like the percent sign is a, it signals that there's some conversion that needs to be done. So for C, you'll have to pull a character from the argument list, the variable argument list that printf has taken. Okay, now for percent %s, you'll have to activate a string. If you look at the slides, then you'll do that. You'll see that. So what that simply asks you to do, and for the percent, you'll have to now to just activate it the way printf activates it. I would encourage you to develop a test suite for yourself. Okay, so for all cases that you think you may need. Okay, for example, what would happen if you look at the standard input output function and ask yourself what would happen if the percent sign was followed by a character that is not a conversion specifier, and then print that output and see what would happen. And then ask yourself what would happen if the percent sign was not followed by any character at all, it was just an empty space. Ask yourself what would happen if the percent sign was in the beginning and it was not followed by any character, or was in the end and then followed by terminating null bout. Now look at those cases, see how the printf, the normal printf in the standard input output header handles them, and then replicate that handling in your printf, in the function of your printf. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Hamuda. Does it?
yeah, yes, it would.
Yeah, yes.
Yes, it would. Yeah. I don't know. I think let me still share something here. Let me share screen
Yes,
and
please
still
do.
add to that. Coming share screen. Coming share please. Hold on. Okay. Here's it for task one. Task one. Oh, I'm sharing. I'm using one screen here at the moment. So let's say for task one. Task one. Go to insert mode. Task one. I think I can just take a peek at it, please. Task zero. Task zero. C S and percent. Task one D and I.
Okay.
So for task zero, you're meant to handle escape. For task zero, you're meant to handle percent %C, right? I'm coming. You're meant to handle percent %C. I wasn't writing any code for you. Percent %D, and you're also meant to handle what's the last one?
The
Percent
percent sign.
percent. So yeah, and then for tax one, you're meant to handle percent %D, and you're also meant to handle percent %I. So here's how it goes. Oh my god, escape you. Hey, Control R. Let's see. I can go. Let's see. Best question just go back quickly. Okay. Escape. So to implement this, I wouldn't be implementing it, but let's go down here. Enter. So let's say there'll be no integer. Yes, there'll be no integer in float tester. It's like this. You have a printf. I think as we have to call it, this is the prototype. So you have underscore printf. So you have this is let's go like this. This is a what? Now we're testing percent %s, right? This is a percent %s. Let's close this. And then we have a parameter which would likely be a string. You know, in C, double quotes are used to represent strings. Single quotes are used to represent characters. So here's how your printf should work. For tag zero, your printf should be able to print this DHIS space IS space A. And when it gets to percent %s, it now goes, hey, let's fetch a string. It fetches a string and it replaces the string it fetches with what's here. So it replaces that, and our output is now meant to look like this. So we meant to print this to standard output. For percent %C, it's actually something similar like this. So you also meant to write your printf such that it can now go this the I'm coming please. So this THIF, this is a char. And if you have percent %C here, so let's see. So what this does, it means this is a char. When it gets to percent %C, it fetches a character. When it fetches a character, it then replaces that character here. You have percent %C. It's actually you moving. You're going to be printing from left to right, and then until you experience a percent. When you experience a specifier, you're going to be like, is it a string? You need to verify, is it a string? If it's a string, then it replaces that string. It's going to fetch a string from the list of periodic arguments and replace that string with percent %s. If it's a char it's going to fetch that character. If it's a percent %C, it's going to fetch a character and replace that with percent %C. So that's actually how they meant. So for task one, so this would actually result in this is a char. So it actually goes on and on like that for integers and this. But there's a very unique thing about D and I. For printf, I do not really want to. Okay, I think I'll share this. For printf, percent %D and percent %I simply does the same thing. So they both do the same thing as printing integers in decimal format. So they both print integers in decimal format, and it's simply like that. You don't have to worry much about that. So this is an int, and if you do percent %D, and if you do percent %D, you pass in a number, and you end it. So I want to ask, this would actually result in what? I need someone to speak, please. What should you expect? I think I'll just continue. This should be 43 here. So it replaces present D with the number it fetches. And also you don't always have to pass in these character these strings and characters and numbers directly. They might be stored in a variable. So you can have a string like this, and let's say this is assigned to string, right? So this str holds the value called string that can be replaced here, right? The str that can be replaced here, and now when we use this, our printf is meant to print this is when it gets to present s, it goes fetch the string, the argument, and it replaces it there with this. So this will be pulled up and will replace the value of this. And in this case, the value of this is string, so this will still have same output. Same thing for this. The char might not be imputed directly. It can be stored in a variable, and that variable, when it's replaced here, when it's replaced here, it would be called. Same thing with int. I think that's how. That's like, yeah. I think you should have an idea of what to do. Let's see. The return. What's confusing you? I hope, is that clear, please? Is that clear, by the way? Was that clear? Like, does anyone have any question about the painting and how it handles those specifiers? I think I'll take that for no. So let's see. There's another question. So thank you. What's confusing me? Returns the number of character printed. So should print function print or return the number of character? It actually should return. It doesn't print it. Then they should write output to standard output. The standard output stream. So it should print. Yes. Oh, okay.
Just to clarify
What's
on
it?
that, so each function usually has a return value. Okay. For example,
Yes.
the puts function that I'm sure you wrote, it was void puts. You wrote it some time back when you're looking at strings and pointers. So that function was printing to the standard output. So in this case, after you print a set number of characters to the standard output, you return. Okay, you return the return value of the function is the int. It's the int printf. The int is the number of characters it has printed. Okay, so it should print the characters and return the number of those characters. So I hope that is clear, Hamuda. Is it? Hamuda?
Okay, let me try to answer that. I'm as well, Samuel. So you have this our underscore printf we've written, um, and here's how it should also work concerning return values. So let's say you have this. A let's say you wrote a function that concatenates two strings. Let's say you wrote your custom underscore string cat. I don't know. It seems you can't speak, so you'll have to engage via the. So let's say you wrote a function string cat, and what it does, it joins two strings. So let's imagine you passing two strings to this function. I believe you should have an idea of what string cat does. So you pass in two strings to the function. The prototype for this is like it's returning a char pointer, a string, which is the combination of this. So this would add this two string inside the function, and it would now return. So if you assign this, let's say you assign this to a variable, the value of this variable right now would now be variable. Or let's use a different thing. Let's use cohort. Sorry about that wrong spelling. I'm not correcting that. Cohort 16. 16 is a string here. So the value of var, oh my, the value of var would now be equal to, I think I'm continuing the way I started, would now be equal to cohort 16, because string cat is going to return the a string that's already been joined. But in the case of our printf, if you were to let's look at this now. If you were to use this printf is going to count one character, two character, three, four, a space is counted, five, six, oh six, sorry, all right, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? That's 10 characters. Let's imagine we don't meet a specifier. This is a string. We don't meet a specifier. then this wouldn't be fetched. But let's reduce the confusion. So let's say we have this, right? And then we have var, we have var equal this. So what do you think would be the value of var? So you call this function. This function is always going to print to standard output. So it's going to go like this. B is print T H I S space A space S T arrow ing, and it ends. So let's go here. Let's see this. If you go to printf and you're like, hey, I'm sorry about it. While it's printing, it's as well keeping track of how many string it has printed. So once it goes like this, see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It keeps track of how many characters is printed. And in this case, it's 16. You know, this string ends with a null byte, right? So it doesn't, a null character. So it doesn't count the character. It doesn't consider that null character. So it's going to assign 16. It's going to return 16. And then that 16 to now be assigned to this. So printf is returning the number of string printed. But in cases like this, now look, in cases like this, you know, you might get, if you do not take much time to scam down and think, you might go like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. No, you're not just going to go 17, 18 because this is a specifier and it shouldn't be printed to standard output, right? This wouldn't be printed to standard output. So it's your duty. You'd now go here. I think this was 16. After the space is 16, it counts 16. You wouldn't count this when you get this, right? When you get what's meant to be here and you replace that, you now need to count how many characters that is. It would be you to think logically how you would handle that. So you need to know how many, if it's a string like in this other case, or in this one, you need to count the length of this string. It's 2. What if it were like this? Then this would be 4, and it prints 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, blah, 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 11, 12, and then now it's going to be printing 3, 4. So it's going to be counting what it prints to standard output. It will not be counting this. I think I spoke a lot there. So yeah, it returns the string printed to standard output. Yes, that's it. I'm holding.
Yes.
Let's take a look at these.
Is there any other question? Anyone else with a question on printf? Guys, I mean, I'm sure you have questions.
Does anyone have any question? Okay, yeah, thank you. So yeah, Amodi, for this would actually return a length. So it goes it prints lent, it prints the square bracket, and when it comes %d, it fetches the value of len. It replaces that value of len here. It counts how many characters it's that. It as well continues. It replaces %i here with len, the second argument, and like that.
That's fine, Namuda. You can have more questions in the next session. But I hope in the next
So
session you'll have started the project. So I would encourage most of you. So before you start the project, I would encourage you to develop a test suite for the project so that a test suite that will compare what your printf is doing along with the standard printf in the standard input output header file. So just I hope when we meet next time, most of you will have started the project. Okay, thank you. So another question. Okay, John Blesson Sanele. Notify you.
Yeah.
Notify you.
yeah, like I need to be honest, you guys are privileged. I don't think in my own time I got learning ambassadors to like guide me on what to do. You guys are really, really privileged. So they provided Quad 16 with learning ambassadors. There are a lot of learning ambassadors out there. I think it's going to be sufficient. You're going to be seen. You're not just going to be meeting I and Samuel. You're going to be meeting other learning ambassadors as well. So you're going to see a lot of invitations on the channel, on your channel, and they're going to be like, hey, join. So whatever one you're free to join. You don't like you can actually, I think you can actually keep an eye, and Samuel will be hosting another session on Sunday night. Yeah, so on Sunday night we'll be having another session, same time, 8
Same
p.m.
time, 8
So
p.m.
if you want to join, yeah, you can join there. But there'll still be other, so you shouldn't deprive yourself of attending others. And I think that'll be it. Yeah, Sunny, yeah, you can speak. You're muted. Speak.
Um, guys, now you see, for example, you see the lecture that you guys prepared today. It was giving us the definition of printf, but it wasn't really going deep as to what is expected from us for this specific project. So I don't know, ne? For me personally, I think it's something that we could have googled. So I would have preferred if maybe you guys went deeper with the thing, just to like give us a detailed explanation as to what are we looking at, as you did now, but you only did it after someone asked the question. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Okay. What do you mean we should explain
Okay.
to you deeper how printf works?
No,
So
you
I
see,
don't know. Wait, Sunny, right now, do you understand what to do with the printf right now?
yeah, I have an idea. I have an idea. I'm
You
not
have an
lost.
idea.
Yeah, I'm not
You're not
lost.
lost.
I'm just saying, in future, you see, for example, the lecture that you prepared, looking at the slides, it's not something special. It's not something that required a Google Meet. It's like it's something I could have Googled on my own. No
Okay.
offense. Ne? So I'm saying in the future, maybe when you make these meetings for a certain project, please at least get in deeper, nyana. Just explain to us. You're not giving us the code, but just explain to us in a way what is expected from us. Am I making sense?
Yeah, you are. You are.
You're making sense actually.
Yeah, like that's an addition I wanted to make from whatever I've deduced from this meeting. But since I think it was Sian or someone, since they asked the question, then you guys went deeper into the project itself, and then you managed to explain a lot of stuff of which like that's what people came to the meeting for.
Okay. I think
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
that. Samuel, you can go and speak.
no, I was just saying by design we can't actually do we are here to respond to your concerns as you do the project. So for example, there are many ways of implementing a printf. Okay, so the challenge you encounter as you do your project, that's what we'll be handling. We can't I don't know. For example, we For example, the basic requirements of the printf are that it converts your format specifiers and prints to the standard output and counts the number of characters. Those are the basic requirements. Now, for the specific requirements, you'll just have to ask the question by yourself after you've encountered them. Okay, Sanela? I don't know,
Okay.
unless I don't understand your question. Because
Okay.
if you encounter
Let
some
me let me.
challenge, something specific that you want to know, that's what we're here to do for you,
Okay.
actually.
Let me make an example now.
Yes,
The project was released today.
yes.
Eh? So not a lot of people actually went inside and went through the project itself because they still have deadlines from the other day. We had an evaluation just an hour ago, I think. You understand? So it's like me today bumping into this thing saying, okay, we have a meeting about the printf project. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, me in this meeting now, we're gonna get sort of insight as to what is really going on in this project. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So
I
now
understand you.
if I come here and then you give me the information that I could easily get it from Google. You understand? I don't think it's for now. I don't think a lot of people have questions because I can bet you now 8 out of 10 people who are here, they haven't really opened the project yet. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
I'm
understand.
getting it. Yeah, you see, if maybe the meeting was tomorrow, then maybe a lot of people would have questions. Maybe.
Okay. But then we'll have a meeting on Sunday, and I'm sure you'll have encountered more
Okay, I
challenges.
think I get your point of view.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, Destiny, go on. Destiny.
yeah, it's all right.
Okay, Sanele, we'll take that into the consideration. And as a matter of fact, I would encourage you all to make some feedback on the session. So I'm going to be sharing a link. Okay. So
Yeah, so you can get to ask more questions
here's a
and
link. Here's a link so
like
that
then we can get to you can get to engage us. Oh, I think I was like just trying to thank you so much for that. Can you hear me? Oh,
okay. So I see somebody. So while you may not get a lot of information from Google, the manual pages in Linux, okay. So for printf actually, so the manual pages in Linux, if you've been using them, they're structured. So they are structured into sections. Section one is for the user commands. For example, if you just typed man printf, it would give you the printf used in the user commands, okay. For example, if you typed man open, so the user command, so you can type man one open, man two open, man three this, okay. So those the manual pages are organized. So for most of the programming functions, actually, section three is for the Linux programmer's manual. So if you want more information on printf or any other library function, you can just type man three and the name of that function, and it will give you details on that function. It's actually quite good because it will you'll get to understand the many of the functionalities that may not be available. For example, functions that have issues, known issues, that are documented in the manual pages, and that would be nice. So while you may not find a lot from Google because and YouTube, the manual pages in Linux are a great resource. Okay, and there's this book, the book K&R book recommended by ALX, the C programming language by Brian Cunningham and Dennis Ritchie. I would also encourage you to use those resources, okay? But then the chief resources, the GNU C libraries manual and the manual pages in Linux, they are great resources that I would really encourage you to use. Okay, if you're looking for resources, you just have them right there, the manual pages in Linux. Okay, so in our next session, I think I'll share a link to the GNU C standard library for you to have them. Okay. Any other question?
okay. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Samuel. I'm audible now.
Yeah, yeah, you're audible now.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for the review, Saneli, and thank you for everything, Samuel. I'm sorry I'm not pronouncing your names. I think you guys are like either Egyptians or Arabic, so I'm sorry about the incorrect pronunciation. Yes, I also just right now I thought someone might be wondering how do they print standard output when they're not allowed to use printf. I'm sorry I couldn't. I'm asking myself question. So to print the standard output, you're also not allowed to use putchar, right? You know, you've seen the list of allowed functions. You're not allowed to use printf. You're not allowed to use putchar. You can use right, you can use to print a standard output. So I'm sorry, I don't know if I should just quickly speed through that, but let me see how fast I can. I might not give a detailed explanation to how you use at the moment. I think I'll just read off the manual page, but I'll try to explain it to you, please. you use write to print to standard output. Do not use butcher, do not use printf. It's very weird and funny that you'll be using printf and you'll still be calling you're planning on writing your own printf and you'll still be dependent on the actual printf. So yes, right. You can read the second man to write.
Yes,
So with
thank you.
man to write, write returns size underscore t. Let's begin here. So you have write. Write takes in a file description, a file descriptor. You don't need to bother about this. To be honest, we'll be learning file IO data in the program. So for now, I think I'll just let's open a new one. So for now, you can just when you're calling write, you can just pass in one here. One is for standard output. So to write to standard output, you pass in one here. To write to printf, you pass in two here. To write to printf, you pass in three here. To write to printf, you pass in four here. To write to printf, you pass in five here. To write to printf, you pass
Destiny.
in six here. To write to printf, you pass in seven here. To write to printf, you pass in
Okay,
eight
so
here. To write
what
to
Destiny is
printf,
saying
you
is that
pass in nine here.
the right system call, okay, the right call, it prints to the file descriptor, and the file descriptor is one, and it will write to the standard output, whatever you give it. So it's up to you how you choose to use the right function, okay? It's how to use the right call. So you write, and the file descriptor you'll be writing to is the standard output. So don't worry about file descriptor and everything, but you can use the right call to write to the standard output, and you'll be fine. Okay. Okay, I hope you guys submit your reviews on how the session was, so that in the next session we will be able to make it better for you guys. Okay, so for those, here's the link. Okay, guys.
Yes, thank you, Ngozi.
Yes, Sanele, do you have any other question?
I don't know. I have many questions, but until the next section.
Why don't you ask now? You are not assured of tomorrow.
And so, is we need to write the same code with my partner, or just each one write his code?
Well, I'm not sure I understand. So of course you may edit the same files, the same functions, but of course each of you will be writing you
Uh,
you'll be writing to the same file, you'll be making the same function. So you'll be updating the same files and the same functions, and then you'll submit that function, okay, on the same repo. Okay, you'll be
yeah.
writing to the
It
same
will-
repository. That's what I'm going to say. You'll be writing to the same
yeah.
repository, and of course, so if you will not be writing the same lines of code, of course, but you'll be updating the same functions and the same files. Okay,
Yeah, but if we write this the different code, we find the merge or not?
you'll find merge conflicts.
Yeah, or
Well,
not?
then you'll have to deal with merge conflicts your way. Okay, so I don't have the link right now, but in the channel I'll post a link that Martin Van Middelaar sent on how to handle merge conflicts. It explains it way too well, and I won't actually explain it here, but you just have to handle the merge conflicts. So anytime you're working in a team project, merge conflicts are to be expected. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so Damilare asks on how to create the repository. So one partner will create the repository. Okay, you'll have to agree with your partner. One partner will create the repository and then add the other one as a collaborator. Destiny explained that in the beginning. So you one partner will create the repository and then you'll invite the other partners as a collaborator. You'll have to ask your partner is their username and then add them as a collaborator. And that way you'll be working on the same repositories, but you'll be collaborating. Is that clear, Demilare? Demilare?
Okay, Damilare as well. If you're confused how to add the other partner as a contributor or collaborator, you just go to let me see on the repo, on that particular repo. Yeah, you'll go and then you'll click settings, and by the you click settings on the repo at the top, and then at the left sidebar you'll see I think contributors. Then you'll see a way to add them. So I think that's it. Yeah, I think we'll see you guys. It's like an hour already. So I don't know. Does anyone have any question before we end the session?
And please remember to review the session so that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
next time
Use the
we'll know
link.
what to do actually.
Yeah, so that we get your feedback and make things better next time. So hopefully we get to see you guys Sunday 8 p.m.
Okay, fine. Damilare, let me send the document on
Yeah,
pair
we'll send
programming.
that.
It's a link.
Thank you guys for giving us this information.
Actually, Siani, I'm sorry, I'm calling your name incorrectly. I would actually want to know from you. Know, I invited you from Slack, like specially. So I'd like, do you still have any confusion?
I don't know. I need to start my project. Then I can find some problems and some
Okay.
questions. You know.
Are you clear on how to go about GitHub repository and like creating the rep and adding your partner or your partner adds to it? Are you clear on that?
Yeah, I think I am clear for that, and I think I know how to create that and to invite my partner.
Okay, that's great. And then
Yeah.
also, let's say you create your README, and then you will now be in your function. You'll be writing a function as well. A good warning, so you don't get issues with the checker. You know you might have to test your code, so please try not to push any code that has a main function. The checker is going to compile everything with its own main function. The checker would have its main function when it gets to test. You're not writing an entire program, you're writing just a function. So you don't need to push any main. So you should, if you test your function, you should try to maybe remove the main from, like, avoid pushing that, because the checker would have conflict having your main and its own main. That would actually not compile, and you'll be like, hey, I did everything fine, it works fine, but it doesn't compile. So do not push your main. That's a warning. I hope that's clear.
Yes, that's clear. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So once again, here's how printf works. Printf looks at it's a function. It takes in it's iterating through all of those characters in that string, and it looks, hey, it's what's the character? This is a character A. And let's say it's trying to print the let's say this is a string. You saw the example I gave. It goes, this is a character T. It's fine. It prints that H. It's fine. It prints that I. It's fine. It continues, and be like, oops, percent, then we need to do something. Is it a percent C? If it's a percent C, I think we need to get a variable. It gets the variable, that's an argument. It gets that argument, it replaces it, and it prints. If, let's say, in the first case, you remember it was string, it goes string, and it prints that and it counts that. It goes again, percent. Is it a percent S? Percent C, is it a percent D? It goes, it patches, it handles that appropriately. So that's just all about the formatting. And I hope that's clear enough. Does anyone have any question? If you have any question, you can raise your hand. I think it's time already.
Yeah,
So
it's
there are
time.
actually other learning ambassadors, and I'm glad you guys joined to the end of the session.
Okay, fine. So I'm going to.
So yeah, go ahead, Engso.
You're saying, Siani, you're saying?
Yeah, just I want to say I see in one section it's create a tool repository. Is that necessary, or just we push it in the SAM repo, in the
You
SAM
push it in the
directory? Is
same
not
repo.
is not no, is not, sorry, is not a repo, is a directory.
Create a
Directory.
directory. Okay, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. You should not push two main. You should not push a main. Like, when you have what's it called? I'm sorry, please. When you have all your C files, what the checker might likely do would be compile all the C programs here, and it has its own main function, right? So it's going to be using testing your printf in its own main function and comparing that with the original printf. It's comparing yours with the original. In no case should you ever, I know you want to test your function. After you write your function, you'd want to test it and see how it works. In no case should you push your main function. So you can do that with git ignore. Can you hear me, Damilari? Samuel, can
Damilare.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so in no case, Larry, please, you can leave and join. So in no case should you push your main function. if you want to, you have a test file, some test files. You create a test file directory, you store those, and then you can push. That way, your checker would not be having issues with the main since they're not in the root of the repo. I don't know how clear that is. Just don't push in main. If you want to push your main, you can keep them in a test directory. So that'll be all
Yes.
for now. Yeah, that'll be all for now. Sanya, Hamodi, if you find, you can reply on the chat if you're okay. If you have any question. Oh, Veronica, I don't know if you're joining now because I actually saw you join like after 8, after like some few minutes ago. I don't know if you're joining now. Amal, I think this might be all. Yeah, Samuel,
Yes. Damilare.
Damilari. Yeah. Okay, Hamodi, Steven, do you have
Okay. So if you have, I would encourage you to start the project today or tomorrow. Just start the project. Then after you do that, in our next session, we'll have more. You will be still be here to
any
explain anything that you still any challenges that you've come across. Actually, in our next time, we'll get into technical details on the project for any of you who may have any challenges encountering the project. Okay, so I'm going to be ending the meeting. I'll share the link to the meeting, to this meeting. This meeting is recorded. I'll share that link in the Slack channel. Okay. So thank you guys. So I hope I hope you have a nice day and happy coding. I hope you beat this printf. Printf is not a hard project, it's very easy. So thank you guys and have a nice time. Thank you.
thing? Amal, I'm sorry for the wrong pronunciation.
Take it. Okay, Destiny.